Welcome to Nonstop. It's the official and season show of Kirk, Herbstreit, and Joey Galloway. Your first stop for all things football, college and pro, every Monday.
All right, here we go. Only an hour to talk about a lot of different subjects. College football, obviously. By the way, what a game last night with the Ravens and the Steelers. I dozed in and out, and I was fourth. And
you're getting old.
Yeah. But that fourth quarter was epic. It just went back and forth for two teams that were struggling to find the end zone. That fourth quarter, they really came alive, and man, you feel bad. These poor kickers. It comes down to, I mean, in the NFL, 44-yard field goal, you line it up 100 times. I don't know, the average guy, and this guy's a really good kicker, probably makes it, 99, 98, 99 times?
It's interesting now to me where teams will, like that thinking you have, it's just 44. Before it had been like, hey, let's get us about 10 to 15 more yards and make this a really just a chip shot. But now 44 for these guys, the way they're kicking it.
Oh, yeah.
That's
like a 33-yarder back in the day. I mean, that's a chip shot. I mean, and guy missed it. And I guess he's just getting, as you'd expect, in the world we live in today, death threats and this.
Absolutely. He had death threats before he got to the locker room, I'm sure. They don't play brutal. Nowadays. It's social media.
We got a lot to get into. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. You know, we've been doing this show every Monday since week one, going all the way back to the beginning of September. Gives Joey and I a chance. As you know, we've known each other since going back to the early 90s, and it gives us a chance, because we work on different shows, a chance to catch up, just talk like we're doing right now about different games. We talk, or text throughout the year, but this is a lot more enjoyable to actually have an hour to break some things down. Pat Coogan, the starting center for Indiana, is going to hop on in literally 7 minutes. Indiana had not just an impressive win, an absolute dominating performance on the biggest stage that their fan base probably could ever hope to be on. I always say, put the CFP to the side. For an Indiana fan base, I talked to a bunch of them. They had tears in their eyes. People are 80 years old. They never thought they'd see Indiana in Pasadena in the Rose Bowl, and to be able to go there, in their words, before I die, and to see this, and then to dominate the way they did. Wow! I mean, that is a one of one day for Indiana fans.
That is different. When I got to the hotel a few days early, Indiana fans in town, ready, because this is for them. This is different. You know what I mean? It's like when you're at the stadium on game day and we're out there doing the pregame show, the Indiana side, it's already full. They're in there as early as they can. They're ready. If you look to the other side, where the Alabama side would be sort of, they're just trickling in. They're coming in. Don't get me wrong. They're coming in, not quite the same. It was a different feel for the Indiana fans in this experience.
No doubt. And again, if that's at SoFi, I don't know. I mean, it's a great stadium. It's an NFL stadium, but there's just something different because of that history and that tradition. And you imagine the amount of years Indiana fans have had to watch other Big Ten schools play in that venue, on that setting, and to be able to play against a traditional power like Alabama,
couldn't be better.
Just to work them. I mean, they were hit them, out executed them, out coached them, out played them. I mean, it could not have been a more dominating performance. And kind of a theme. You and I were talking before we came on. A lot of Big Ten fans like to remind you and I, who are Big Ten guys, about how dominant the Big Ten has been, going back to Michigan's national title, Ohio State's national title last year. Who knows? Maybe Indiana right now maybe it's 3 in a row. Very easily could be, the way they're playing. But you have to understand that there's nobody that cheers more when we're off air about the Big Ten. We don't really on air cheer for anybody. Right. We like to cheer for stories. We like to cheer for what's happening, on some of these games. but you have a job to do. When you talk about for 10 or 15 years, the SEC had the upper hand. What are you supposed to say? Well, they had the upper hand, but they're not that good. You have to give them their kudos. They played well as a group, and now the Big Ten as a group has played very, very well. The SEC, they've got to go back to the drawing board when it comes to bowl games and this new 12-team playoff, and how, it just seems like they get to these bowl games and they don't compete. They get embarrassed. It's like game after game where they've had some tough times. So
I don't know if you can flip that now. I don't know if you can flip it back, but you're right. When it comes to these bowl games, and we talked last week about Iowa Vandy. Say that's in the regular season. I think Vandy shows up a little different than they did in that game. I'm not saying they beat Iowa, but I am saying I think they show up different. I think for the SEC teams, it just has that feeling of, man, if we don't get to the playoff, it's screw it.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
It just doesn't matter. Whereas you knew Iowa was coming in with their game face on. They were coming in to send a message.
Yeah, and I
like,
think
hey.
you could really echo that throughout the entire conference, Illinois, all the way down the list. So
Big Ten's had an amazing.
Nobody really embodies that and represents that better than Pat Coogan, who was at Notre Dame last year, had a heck of a run last year, got all the way to the national championship, transfers to Indiana, and kind of has become the bell cow in the middle of, I would say, probably the most physical offensive line in the country. And they proved that when they went out to Oregon, they went to Penn State, they went to Iowa, they played Ohio State and Indy for the Big Ten championship, and all eyes were on them at the Rose Bowl when they went up against, again, a traditional power in Alabama. Let's bring Pat in and congratulate him and the Indiana Hoosiers. Big fella, congrats, man. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. We were just talking about kind of the Big Ten's dominance, and you're kind of a newcomer to the Big Ten, being at Notre Dame. But last year Indiana would get in these bigger games against Ohio State and against Notre Dame, and the line of scrimmage really proved to be the difference. And they went through the portal to get guys like yourself, made a commitment to the line of scrimmage, and it looks like that's something you guys take a tremendous amount of pride in on both sides of the ball, is winning the line of scrimmage, and it's become a strength of your team now.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Games are won and lost at the line of scrimmage, and we take great pride in owning the line of scrimmage. And, obviously on offense, it starts up front with us and being able to make sure we can run the ball efficiently, because that really sets up everything else. It lets our quarterback be as special as he is when we're able to run the ball, get ahead of the chains. And defense, I'm proud of the guys too, man. They're just like the defensive line, going to war with them for the whole, spring and summer, and seeing the success that they're having. It's awesome to watch. It's fun to watch too, because those guys fly around and make plays, and it's a collective effort across the board for sure.
Pat, when Herbie just said it a second ago about you left Notre Dame and went to Indiana, I think in today's world, as much as the outside world is looking at Indiana like, holy crap, where did they come from? You did the unthinkable. Like, no one would have ever imagined, probably until now, that someone would leave Notre Dame football to go play football at Indiana. I mean, and it wasn't like you weren't like a guy that was like fifth string. I mean, you were starting at Notre Dame. What is it about Indiana? If you could just tell the rest of the world, like, this is why you do these kind of things. What is it about Indiana that makes it special?
Yeah, I mean, first, I had a great career at ND, and, I made some of my best friends, lifelong memories there. So it was an unbelievable time. I fulfilled my dream as a young kid, being from the south side of Chicago, playing there, graduating, leading my team to a national championship. So I have nothing but good things to say. And it was just time, right? Like, I graduated, I played 4 years there, and it was time for both sides to kind of, separate, almost not separate, but find a different path. It was
Right.
It was time for my journey to take a different ride. And when looking at Indiana, I just, I believed in what they were doing here, and believed in the coaching staff, and believed in the guys that they had coming back. I obviously played them firsthand in the playoffs last year. And I saw who was coming back. I saw Aiden Fisher coming back. I saw Surratt, Coop, Harbor Smith, all these guys that I'm like, these guys are ballers, man. Like, this team is going to be good again, and obviously Fernando. And then, so I knew that going into the portal and in the portal, and then just talking to Coach Sig and Coach Bostad and everyone that, was calling me and texting me and hearing their message about what they needed and how I would fit in there, how I would slide directly into, the center role, that leadership role. It was exactly everything I wanted. And then, I obviously wanted to get on campus, get around the guys, get in the locker room. And I mean, from the moment I got here, it was just, a perfect fit. The culture was number one of what I wanted to find in the portal. Like, I'm a culture guy, I'm a locker room guy. It is my far and away favorite part of football. The brotherhood, my teammates, sharing those moments with my teammates. So that's, I had that at ND and I wanted to find that again. And I did here. I mean, it's been unbelievably, I'm so blessed, right? Like, I am just so blessed, and it's funny how everything works out, but I'm just so grateful for everything that's led me to here, right? Like, I always tell everybody, who asked about my journey and everything like that, no way I would, imagine it would go this way, but I am so grateful that it did, right? Like, if I could tell my younger self, like, something, just trust the process. In college football, it's such a crazy game. We all know this now. Like, it's never going to go the way you foresee it. It's never going to, there's going to be unexplainable things that are going to happen, but just believe in who you are. Trust the process. And I promise you everything will happen for a reason. And it's exactly what happened to me. And I'm just truly blessed.
That's awesome, man.
Wow.
What a story. And you're not done yet. That's what's cool, is you're not done. So you can imagine, it's my 18th Rose Bowl that I've called. I've been lucky enough to do a bunch of them. And in the middle of this game, they always come into us around the end of the third quarter and they ask us, the Rose Bowl booth does the MVP, and they're like, who do you want for the MVP? And normally it's the quarterback or the receiver or whatever. And you do one on each side of the ball. And I'm like, can I do the whole offensive line? And the producer's like, we came back from a break. We went through another series, went to another break. He's like, Herbie, Rose Bowl says you can't do the whole offensive line. And I was like, well, they've been dominant. I mean, to me, I've been talking about them the whole game, and that's what I would like to do. I said, Pat Coogan represents that line to me, is kind of in the middle, kind of the anchor. I said, let's give it to, him. And they said, we've never done an offensive lineman. I said, well, if anybody deserves it, it's Pat in this offensive line. And so through my eyes, to watch how Reese set that up, where he mentions Mendoza and he's like, this guy has done everything. He's won the Heisman. And I'm sure everybody's thinking that Fernando's going to get it. And dude, when they announced you, and to see Surratt and Mendoza and Coop and all these guys, to me, that was so surreal. And I think that was the moment of the year, because I have a soft spot in my heart as a former quarterback for offensive linemen. And to be able to name an offensive lineman as an MVP, and then to see the reaction from your guys, I think that embodies you guys, the 2025 season, and kind of that unselfish approach, which is so rare to find in college football right now. So congrats on that, man. That was sweet.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm glad I have this opportunity to meet with you and talk with you, because I just want to say thank you, because I knew the role that you played and I saw the video you posted. Obviously thanking you from me and the moment for me, but even more my family, man. Like, the reaction from my family and seeing the videos of them just overcome with emotion. It was truly special, and it's a memory we're gonna hold for a lifetime. I'm from Chicago, but believe it or not, I near 50 people out there in California, from across the country, Florida. My brother lives in Jersey, flew out there.
It's awesome.
So for them to have that moment, I really wanted to thank you. Special. And the teammates, like I said, it's my favorite part of football. I mean, just seeing those guys, it was awesome. Certainly a moment that, I'm never going to forget. And I'm glad I got to celebrate it with the people that I love the most, for sure.
Pat, what is your schedule? Like, what are you guys from now? You're still in Indiana right now? Or,
Yeah, we're
like,
here. We flew back right after the game. So we got home, probably 4 or 5 a.m. on Friday morning. And then, we had that day off, and then we came back in on Saturday. Back to kind of our normal routine with it. We had 8 days or so. So no, now we had our kind of normal Monday yesterday. Long meetings, walk through, game review, game prep, sort of like that. And then now we're into Tuesday, our normal Tuesday practice.
and then you leave when? When do you take off?
We leave Wednesday night. So
Wednesday
the night after our Thursday practice.
I got you.
Okay. Okay. One of the things that you guys have been able to do is that underdog role, like kind of us against the world. A lot of the guys on your team have come from smaller schools, and they kind of, especially your running backs, the way they run the football, it's almost like they're trying to prove something every single time they run the ball. There's so many guys sprinkled throughout your team that are just kind of like chip on their shoulder. How do you maintain that? How, as a leader of this team, with so many pats on the back and so many people saying, you guys have arrived, you're here, and yet it'd be great if the Rose Bowl were the finish line, but you got 2 more potentially massive opportunities. How do you keep your edge? How do you keep that blue collar underdog role when you've won a Heisman, you're a Rose Bowl MVP? I mean, you guys, the accolades keep piling up. How do you stay angry?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it starts with Coach Signetti. He's implemented a process within our program, a mindset within our program that is just afraid to death of complacency. Like, complacency kills. And I think we've all taken that in stride. And I believe that's why we've had success on Saturdays, is because, his mindset bleeds into us. And obviously he sets the tone for our program, and we follow. And just as players, I think you kind of hit it right on the head. Like, there's been a lot of times where a lot of people have told us, we can't, you're not big enough, tall enough, strong enough. You come from a smaller school, G5, wherever it may be. Like, that's just, it's molded us into who we are. It's now part of our DNA, and now we've come as a collective, bringing a lot of individuals with a lot of chips on their shoulders into this locker room, into this group of people. It's kind of, I before the games, I share a message with the team, and the message before the Rose Bowl was very similar to kind of what you said. It was, what we've done in the past is not going to buy us any points. It's not going to buy us any third down conversions, but it sure should give us extreme confidence of who we are as individuals, who we are as a collective unit, our DNA of what we're made of. And that is exactly what you kind of said, the chip on our shoulders, us against the world kind of mentality. And, we don't want to play the underdog, because we know we can play with everybody, and anyone. But at the same time, that's kind of who we are. We are those type of individuals, and we've come together as a collective unit. And we just have to continue to be, the best versions of ourselves for each other.
Pat, you said you graduated from Notre Dame. What did you major in? What is your plan after football? Me and Herbie have been around a lot of offensive linemen. I've always found it scarier when offensive lineman is very intelligent. That is like you have this mental thing that it sounds like you could basically do anything in the world when this is done. What did you major in, and what is your plan when your football career is over? Hopefully that's a long career beyond Indiana into the NFL, whatever that is. What's your plan when this is over?
My major at ND was American Studies.
Interesting.
So I'm a patriotic guy. No, it was a lot of history based. I wrote a lot of papers. We didn't have a communication school or marketing school or anything. So a lot of history based, political science, kind of like that. it was broad. I won't lie. But after football, I would love to, obviously stay in sports. Sports has been my whole life. I've lived it. I've loved it. I think working for an agency would be very cool. I don't want to go to law school per sense, but whether it's on the marketing side or anything like that, I think that'd be very cool because just to stay in the business. My dad owns a local business back in our hometown. Don't know if I'll follow his roots and go back there, but I've worked there before. It's a local restaurant, so it's just part of our familyhood, and we take great pride in it. So that's gonna keep going no matter what.
I love that. I love that. Pat, before we let you go, just the world of college football you touched on it a second ago. You even talked about the potential, maybe, who knows, down the road, maybe be working with an agency or whatever it might be. We're all on the outside. You're living it. You just experienced it last year with the portal. I'm dumbfounded that Indiana or Miami of Florida or Ole Miss or, Oregon, all these teams are still playing and are hosting guys on a portal visit or trying to protect guys that are maybe not starting and are trying to maybe potentially leave. Agents are trying to get them to leave. These are just teams that are still playing it for the national title, let alone the other teams. What's your take on where we are, living it, experiencing it yourself? And is this healthy, what we have going right now? If you could tweak it, what would you do? The sport itself, as far as attendance and ratings, has never been bigger, but it just seems like it's running out of control. What are your thoughts living in it these last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah. It's a crazy world. It really is. I obviously think there should be some scheduling changes, just based on where we are. We're still playing, but there's, you're pulling two strings in opposite directions. And people, at the end of the day, people always have to look out for themselves, but it also is a team game, and you don't want to take that aspect away. Like I said, the best part of football, you never want to eliminate that aspect. But there's also that aspect of humanity where you have to do what's best for yourself. So yeah, it's tough for me to say, because I try and, stay as locked in on my job as possible. Obviously there was, I kind of lived it last year, going to the national championship and entering the portal 48 hours later, and only, it was crazy. There's no doubt about it. It was a tornado of kind of a week. So certainly I think there should be some scheduling changes, to give everyone a fair shot at having equal opportunity to embrace the championship run that they go on, and embrace the brotherhood of the postseason, but also making sure they get an equal opportunity at maybe an opportunity at another place or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's tough for me to say, that's above my pay grade.
Of course.
That's above all of us, believe me.
Oh, man, but none of us. And the thing is, there's no one to really knock on the door to and say, hey, can you fix this? We don't even know who's in charge. It's conference commissioners who all have kind of their own agenda of what they're trying to accomplish. So eventually it sounds like Congress may have to get involved, which is always scary, to rely on them to come together on agreeing on something. But in the meantime, you got the Oregon Ducks coming up in a rematch. You guys already went out to Eugene. They're going to be fired up. I know you guys are going to be fired up. It's going to be an epic scene on Friday night. Congratulations on that.
Congrats, man.
Dominant Rose Bowl performance. Stay charging. Keep that chip on your guys' shoulder. Keep it rolling, man. Two more big ones to go. Best of luck to you.
Thank you guys. Thank you,
Congrats,
guys.
Pat. Thank you, man.
Hey, brother. Take care. About as man, we're so fortunate on Nonstop. It seems like everybody we have on here, you want them to be your son. Like every single guy.
It's weird.
Is just classy.
It's weird how you keep doing this to me. Like you'll have a guy on, and then by the time we get done, I'll be a fan of the kid. You know what I mean? And you wanna stay neutral. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to be neutral in this. But then you talk to a young man and you have a chance to, see inside of him a little bit. You become a fan. Like I was saying that, man, and you've been around a lot of offensive linemen yourself, and you've been around those guys. And typically speaking, it's not that kind of conversation. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a little different than that.
But the ones that do speak like that, they're going to be in the NFL for 12 or 15
yeah,
years.
absolutely right. That's why I said like long time from now.
Yeah.
Like, what are you planning on? That guy seems like he's locked in and can do it for a long time. And man, and nobody would ever think that even though I picked them to win the game, I didn't expect them to dominate the way they did. And they ran the ball for 215 yards. And it was like no one had ever thought that's the way they would have dominated an Alabama team. And they were about as efficient in a game, in a big time game, as you've seen a team play. And that was very impressive to watch.
This kind of the Becker touchdown with that length, a 6'4" kid out of Father Ryan here in Nashville makes that play. Bama trying to get back. This scramble looks like, they're across midfield, got a first down.
Hey, there we go.
Big hit. And it's like, okay. It's almost like their style of football, and that turnover, they just took the will. They took the will from Alabama. I made the comment during the broadcast, in the third quarter, they look like they're just existing.
Mm-hmm.
They just are out there. And Indiana, they just kept going and going and going. And Alabama, it was basically like they were saying no mas. I mean, they pretty much shut it down. So Bama's got to go back to the drawing board. Obviously, a lot of these SEC schools have got to go back to the drawing board and just kind of figure out whether it's culture or XOs or whatever it is in this new world of portal and NIL and 12-game playoff. It's as a conference, the Big Ten, top to bottom, has figured it out, and they've taken over the kind of that stranglehold of who. If we asked your average college football fan in the last couple of years, who's the dominant conference in college football, I think as a collective, we would all say the Big Ten has become that. You know, they have figured out the new landscape, and the SEC is right now reeling. So we'll see. Those two seem to always be kind of bragging about who plays the best brand of football, and right now there's really no discussion. The Big Ten has the upper hand
when it comes to bowl season.
Yeah, for sure. And really, that a lot of times non-conference games and bowl games, whether it's fair or unfair, it's really all you have to go by when it comes to bragging rights. And right now, the Big Ten should feel good about what they're doing these last few years. Not to mention back-to-back national titles. And Indiana, we'll see if they can keep it going. Them or Oregon, one of them will win. Will represent the Big Ten.
Which, as we've said all these terrific things about Indiana and the way they dominated,
here comes Oregon.
Oregon also dominated.
Yeah.
And so this was interesting to me. As many as conversations as we have, and I am never a guy that takes a result of a game and looks back at the decision. You know what I mean? Like who should be in, who should not be in.
Right.
I'm never that guy. But I don't. Sometimes you run into a buzzsaw you can't get yourself out of. We've all been there in a football game, especially.
Yeah.
You get in a situation, things start to go downhill, and you can't stop it. We know Texas Tech to be a better football team than what they displayed. Oregon came out and dominated a game that, quite honestly, in the first half, if you're Oregon, you didn't go in the locker room feeling great. I mean, you had the lead, but you had shot yourself in the foot a number of times, self-inflicted wounds, bad snaps, those kind of things. And it sort of felt like, hey, man, we got the lead, but my gosh, we should be dominating this football game. They come out in the second half and then they dominate. This will be interesting because we always have these conversations. Can you beat a team twice in a season?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we watched Georgia Ole Miss. Can you beat a team twice in a season that's playing, the way that Oregon plays, especially in the second half of that football game? This will be an interesting matchup. And I'm sure Oregon is licking their chops to get back, to get another shot at Oregon, a team they lost to. I mean, at Indiana, a team they lost to in the regular season.
Did you? Well, I want to get right back to college football, but I do want to say that the NFL, we've got. This is always that Friday or that Monday after NFL Black Monday where the guys get fired. I guess Pete Carroll, while we've been on the air, one and done.
Pete Carroll's out. Listen,
breaking news just happened.
That's an interesting. How about Chip Kelly didn't make it a whole season?
Yeah.
didn't make one whole season, and now he's one and done. You guys are keeping your coach in Cincinnati.
The Browns.
The
Browns made a
Brownies have
move.
moved on. Are you surprised about the Bengals? Does that surprise you at all about keeping Taylor?
I like Zach Taylor. I think they as a group, their defense, they're really, really struggling.
Goodness.
It's almost like they're in a rebuilding mode. This is a team that went to the Super Bowl just 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And their defense had a lot to do with it. They fired their defensive coordinator last year. I think Zach Taylor, for where that Bengals franchise has been for the last 40 years, there's something about him that doesn't get too high when it's good, doesn't get too low when it's bad. I don't know. I like him. I really do.
No,
and I think
outside of your feelings toward him.
No, I'm saying I like as a fan of this franchise, I like it it's easy to just get rid of a coach.
Absolutely. I'm just asking, are you surprised that the organization made that decision? And I'm not saying he should be fired.
No, because I'm
that,
used to them making so many bad decisions.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you're surprised that they kept him. He has been a name that, because I live in Ohio.
Yeah.
So he's been a name that's like, hey.
Which one's been hotter, the Browns with Stefanski or Zach Taylor?
Both.
Yeah.
Get rid of all Ohio coaches. Ryan Day out of here. Stefanski gone. Zach Taylor out of here.
Ryan Day? That's what they're saying in Ohio?
He just lost. He stinks.
Oh,
he can't call plays, in case you're wondering.
Well, let's go back to college football and talk about Miami. Let's give Miami all their credit that they deserve.
Absolutely.
Boy, did they look good in that game. I mean, it's not like Ohio State forgot how to make big plays or have big play potential. Miami, another game where Mario Cristobal prides himself on winning that line. Isn't it funny how these teams that pride themselves on winning the line of scrimmage are advancing? The who can be physically tougher. How about Keontae Scott? Saw the tight end in motion, jumped that, went right around Jeremiah Smith and made that play. It's a guy that's been dealing with injuries. If you're a Miami fan, that was very fitting that he was the guy that made that play. But the Ohio State offensive line, we came into the game wondering, okay, wait a second. The best defensive line they faced was Texas. They scored 14. The other great D line they played was Indiana. I forget whatever it was, 10 or whatever. I don't remember what points they scored in that game. Now they get even the best defensive line they've seen all year. How are they going to offset Reuben Bain and company? And they didn't. I mean, that every time Julian Sand dropped back to throw, if he got the ball out, it was either quick game or duck a guy. And he was always trying to deal with something. Look at that. That was pretty much, that play right there was pretty much every time he dropped back to throw. But give Miami, they've been waiting for over 20 years to get back at Ohio State, and they deserve all the kudos in the world for winning that football game in the fashion in which they did.
When you got a D line like that, and honestly, you hear about these guys. You know what I mean? And
it wasn't a surprise.
And offensively, when you're putting a game plan together, there is no such game plan that says what happens when their 2 first-round defensive ends get to the backfield every play. It's like we have a plan, but that's why defensive ends and pass rushers make so much money. We watched in that game the effect that pass rushers have on a football game. The difference between any defense that can get home with their front four versus having to blitz, that's a different defense. Yep. That's what we used to watch with the Alabamas and the Georgias when they could get home with that front
without blitzing, without playing man. Play zone behind that?
Yeah. So Bain Jr. and Messidor, those guys we had heard great things about through 2 games in this playoff have absolutely dominated up front. And it has changed everything. And then and I know your offensive line. I give Miami's offensive line credit, especially at the end, to put the game away when they decided we're going to run the football, run some clock, made those plays, got their running backs loose. Give them credit. They were better in the trenches, which always sounds like coach speak. When you watch these games, the teams that are better up front are absolutely winning these playoff games.
The two things that stood out to me besides the obvious, which was the defensive line in Miami, was Ohio State couldn't run the football. I mean, they had 45 yards rushing, which put them in very unfavorable third down situations. They were behind the sticks most of the game. I think they were 3 of 10 in third down, which just played right into the hands of Miami. Miami's plan was stop the run.
Yes.
Get them into obvious passing situations, and their defensive coordinator, as good as there is at dialing up different looks, even though he may be showing it and not doing it, but it creates enough indecision up front where their eyes are all over the place. Is he coming? Is he coming? And then they drop, and now you got to deal with 4 or 3 rushing the quarterback. So Miami had a great plan. It wasn't like, I mean, they only threw for 138 yards. It wasn't as if they just put up a ton of numbers, but
Ohio State had more yards.
Right. But Miami, they had the pick 6. They had a good plan. They wanted to bottle up that big play threat of saying and those receivers.
No penalties.
No,
0 penalties from Miami.
Yeah. Impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive what they've been able to do. If you could tell the Miami fans that, like, I don't hate them.
Do they think you hate them?
Oh my gosh. How we have those discussions. You've been there before. When you have those discussions, and it's about the process of the committee and how they choose them, and it doesn't matter who the team is. It's about the process. If you could let them know that I don't hate them, and I was impressed with them. They're another team that has been fun to watch. Man, this playoff has been pretty amazing, and looking forward to that matchup, the Miami Ole Miss matchup.
And we didn't even hit Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss, my gosh, Trinidad Chambliss, what is he doing?
Is it not going to be fun?
Pat Mahomes and
watching him, watching
Holy
Chambliss run around with Bain Jr. and Messidor. When Chambliss is on, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the. When he's on,
by far,
give me that guy.
Yep.
And at the end of that game, play after play, it was like, no, don't. He's running backwards. Don't do that. And then he turns it into a huge gain. That one's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup. Him against that D-line of Miami is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and let's not go past how no one knows anything. No one knows anything. We all of us looked at Georgia in the SEC championship game, and we said, between Kirby Smart and Georgia's background and way they're playing right now, it's Georgia and everybody else.
Absolutely right.
Everybody was, if there's one thing everybody was agreeing on, it was Georgia's the team to beat. And Ole Miss, with all the drama, Lane Kiffin, assistant coaches, who's in Baton Rouge? Is Charlie Weiss? Where? Who?
Lane's coming to the game.
Lane's coming. All these players kept doing is like, just give us Charlie Weiss and give us these assistant offensive. We're gonna put a little plan together. We'll give it a shot against Georgia. This team you guys said nobody can beat. We'll give it a shot. And to the credit, Pete Golding, who has been a defense coordinator his entire career until he's been thrust into this position as head coach, he deserves a ton of credit for the way he's created a vibe inside that locker room. Outside the doors, it's all about Lane and the assistants and who's here. Those players have really rallied around this. They got unfinished business, and there's so many great stories. Like, of these 4 teams, who would have ever thought Ole Miss, Indiana, and Miami of Florida? Oregon, you could have maybe made a debate for back at the beginning of the year. Not Ole Miss, not Miami, not Indiana.
And with Ole Miss dealing with what you just said, though, I mean, that's the other part of the Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Georgia matchup. Who's coaching now? I feel like every day it's like, he's not going to be here. He is going to be here. Golding is going to stay, right? Like,
he's staying.
What about the other? I've heard the other guys are gone.
Well, there's so many conflicting reports. I'm calling that game. I'm looking forward to saying, can you guys tell me what's real? Are they're here? Are some of them here? None of them are here. Like, what's going on? Imagine dealing with that. Not to mention the portal, losing guys, bringing new guys in. And you're just trying to put your staff to. One thing we know for sure, if they're back, they're leaving eventually to go to Baton Rouge. And I'm glad that these
Amazing.
guys have been able to come back and finish this thing to help Chambliss and this offense put a plan together, because it's working pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing, especially with the portal. We talked about this 1,000 times about the timing of this portal thing. Not just are your coaches leaving, but man, you got players making plans to get out of there. I am happy for Ole Miss. I'm happy for what they've been able to accomplish so far, honestly. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. But what an amazing story this would be if they can pull this off with all of the unsettled situation in football. And I don't know about other sports as much as I know about football. Football is a schedule oriented sport. You know what I mean? Like you're on a schedule, and we just talked to Pat Coogan. He's like, we're on our normal schedule for a week. How this works out? We got same thing every single week. Can you imagine an Ole Miss situation? Nothing's the same every week. Every single thing is different. You don't even know who's coaching.
Right.
And they've been able to get to where they are. It's already an amazing accomplishment.
By the way, Georgia Ole Miss, the first time I called that game in Athens, it was a really close game all the way through. And in the fourth quarter, Georgia just started to kind of take the game over. They won at home 43-35. And now 39-34. I mean, those two teams provided two of the best games that we were able to enjoy all year long. So kudos to Ole Miss, to Miami of Florida, to Oregon, to Indiana. Looking forward to Thursday night out at the Fiesta Bowl.
Are you not calling the Fiesta?
I am calling it. I'm doing.
So you're calling the Fiesta, and then headed over
flying over to Atlanta, doing game day, and then after.
So you're not calling that game?
No,
okay.
No, not in Atlanta. Just doing game day. Then I'm going to stand on the sidelines and watch Indiana, Oregon, and then I'm going to fly to Chicago for our Thursday night cruise. Playoff game is the Bears and the Packers.
Oh, wow.
I get to call that one on Saturday night with Al Michaels and Kaylee and our team. So, yeah.
How many years can you keep this thing going? You're no spring chicken.
This is a heck of a week.
You're no spring chicken.
I know. Dude, I fell asleep yesterday at like 4 o'clock. I was in the chair. And then I went to bed. I took some NyQuil. I just shut her down at like 7 o'clock watching the game.
Oh my gosh.
I know, 7 o'clock. And then I'm just trying to stay up for that Pittsburgh game.
So that is crazy.
So this week is going to be wild as far as prep, but I love it.
Yeah.
You know how much I love it.
No, I already said it was fun to watch you in the booth.
It's great.
I think I'm going to swing
you're
up there
going to
and
go out
watch
to Phoenix. You're going to golf a little bit. You're going to do some work. You got some big plans out there. Do you know the courses you're going to play yet?
I think I'm going to go over and try to play Whisper Rock.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, here's where I come in. Get their milkshakes and a burger at the Men's Grill.
That's okay.
Yeah. I witnessed a hole in one there. We were playing an eightsome. The guys had a couple pops and two foursomes. The guys were playing barefooted. I mean, the member that was hosting us, he's bare feet. He hits one. I can't remember which hole, but you could see it bounce. We were up on kind of up on a hill. Bounces at the front of the green. Another bounce. Rolls. Drops it. I didn't know the guy. He's a hefty dude. I'm going 290. I never met him. He was our host.
Yeah, I'm trying to play there.
I've never seen a hole in one in person.
I've seen a couple. I have one actually.
Bro, he had a cigar. He had a cigar, bare feet, big dude, throws this with his cigar as he puts it down, hits it, doink, doink, boom. I sprint at him. I'm about 30 feet away. I don't know the guy. I was overwhelmed with, I just saw a hole in one. I hit, boom. I hit him underneath his chest, lift him up. I was so fired up and just started running towards the hole. In an eightsome. at Whisper Rock. So you're
Yeah,
gonna have a
I'm
blast.
trying to play that. I'm trying to get on Silverleaf too.
Might
That's
as well.
just working. I'm working on that one. I got a couple connections I'm still trying to piece together. So that's the other one I'm trying to play while I'm there.
Hit Sean McDonough up. He's got connections out there. This is
How
you
about-
this is you breaking it down with Coach Saban in the pregame, the Rose
Well,
Bowl.
The funny part about this is I'm doing live TV right now. Like, I'm doing live TV. People are like millions are watching, getting ready for the Rose Bowl, and here you are jacking around, grabbing my seat. I mean, what? I'm trying to be a professional.
Good thing you weren't talking. I couldn't hear. I didn't know if you were talking or not.
I wasn't talking at the moment.
That would have been so much better if you were in the middle of a thought.
I was going to say, I don't even think it'd matter to you. I could have been mid-sentence on live TV with millions watching, and here you come over, jacking around.
Yeah, I would have for sure. I wish if I would have timed it up better, I would have known that you were. Let's answer a few questions here.
All right, let's go.
Let's see what people are upset about. Also, thoughts on all the transfer portal news. Josh Hoover to Indiana. That's a big one. Brendan Sorsby's going to Texas Tech, just to name a few. I'll be honest with you, with all these prep of getting ready for games this week, I really have not kept up with. I knew about these two, but I don't know. Are there a bunch of guys that have already declared what they're doing?
I heard there was 4,000.
I heard 4,500.
Yeah, in the portal. And that's the thing is we talk about the Josh Hoovers and the Sorsbys and those guys. This thing gets really interesting because a lot of these guys have very nice things at the place they're at.
Yeah.
What happens when you jump in the portal and you're waiting around, but that rent payment is still coming due?
I don't know how that works. How does that work?
You've had an apartment before.
Yeah.
They want their money. I don't know. This part of it.
Have the apartments kind of adjusted their way of doing things?
I don't know, sir. But what I do know is you've had apartments before. You've had mortgages. It isn't typical of these people to adjust the way they're thinking. They want their money. So
one of Che's roommates is gone up at Ann Arbor. So I asked Che, I was like, if he leaves, do we cover his rent? I don't know what's going on here.
Hey, good luck to the young man, but I'm
wish him well, but
paying his portion of the rent.
Right. How does that? I swear. I was like, huh. By the way, I follow Pete Nakos from On3. I think he's Portal Pete, they call him.
Okay.
He says that DJ Lagway is visiting Virginia.
Oh wow!
This guy's got all the stuff going on. Lance Hurd from Tennessee has officially entered the portal. He's an offensive lineman from Tennessee. It's really more of who's not in the portal.
Yeah, exactly. It's
who's not.
And it'll be interesting with Indiana because each year now they've gone to get another quarterback here, a guy that comes in, plays a season, and goes. A few years back, used to be Oklahoma used to be the destination for a quarterback.
Yep.
Used to be the place to go if you're a quarterback when they were on their hot run of quarterbacks there for a second. But now it's going to be interesting to see, is that going to be Indiana? Is Indiana going to be a place where Mendoza comes in there, wins the Heisman, they win the Big Ten, and now Hoover goes there. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens there. Man, these quarterbacks, goodness, these quarterbacks jump in and move and go different places. And
it's crazy.
Yeah, this would be.
It is absolutely crazy. And, like I said, I mean, it's a reality because it leads to wins. I mean,
it leads to wins and money money. Don't forget that part.
I don't know Bryce West, but Ohio State corner Bryce West has entered the portal. I think he's
living here. I see all the guys here that have jumped in. Some interest, some guys, a lot of guys just like you've never even heard of some of these people that have jumped in the portal. You're like, I didn't know that guy was there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's keep firing away. Let's see how many we can get to here. Questions. Who do y'all believe has the best chance to win it all? Man, there's a lot of good mojo going right now for all four of these teams. If Indiana keeps playing the way they are playing,
Mhm.
I don't know who's favored to win. I think Indiana's favored in Vegas to win it all. I would probably give them the nod right now. Can they maintain this edge? I would think with their head coach coaching the way he does, I would give Indiana probably the edge there. Who has the best
It's
chance.
tough after you watch a team. When you're at the game and you watch a team dominate the way Indiana dominated Alabama, it's tough to walk out there and not think, man, that looks like the best team in the country right
But
there.
can Ole Miss and Ole Miss Miami, those two teams?
Yeah, now that we're down to 4 teams, and I said this after watching Miami beat Ohio State, if Carson Beck plays the way he played in that game against Ohio State, being as efficient as he was in that game, I think he went 14 of 18 in the first half in that game.
Yeah,
Where
didn't turn it over.
He had 14 total completions against Texas A&M. So if Carson Beck plays the way he just played in that game, taking care of the football, and their D-line plays that way, Miami has a legitimate chance to win it all. Like they really look like they're in a good position right now.
The only thing that I would ask is, do they if Chambliss is rolling and it gets into that kind of game, they got the pieces when it comes to do they have the firepower to be able to get into that kind of game, a shootout?
I think their answer would be is we have Messidor and Bain Jr. And so it's up to those guys to make sure it doesn't turn into that kind of game. You know what I mean? I don't know who has that kind of firepower if it turns into that kind of game. If it turns into let's just go playmaking ability from a quarterback standpoint, Ole Miss signed them up because they have a guy that can make plays all over the field.
And before we get to the next question, I just want to say whoever's in charge of the Miami wide receivers blocking, and I'm talking, Malachi Toney might be one of the most explosive receivers. This kid, this is the kid that reclassified, should technically be a senior in high school. Not just the big plays where he blocked. I'm talking opening play to last. He's been doing it all year.
Did you see him going down inside? I was sitting there thinking to myself, at one point, I want to say the one bad thing he was doing is, like, because he's down in there blocking, when the play's over, he's sort of standing next to the pile. You always want to tell young receivers, hey,
careful.
When it's over, when you're done with your block, don't just stand next to the pile, because those big Pat Coogan size guys fall on you in those. But his blocking, I'm glad you brought that up. His blocking in the Ohio State game, I could see it. For some reason, it just jumped off the screen at me, was as equally as impressive as his big play making ability. Willing to go down inside and block.
Oh,
very impressive.
It reminds me of Puka Nacua for the Rams, and how physical he can be.
Like a smaller version, though.
A smaller version.
Yes.
But the willingness.
Yes.
They've been doing it all year. I've called 2 or 3 of their games. Every year I focus on Malachi Toney and CJ Daniels blocking, because I just want to highlight the blocking, because in this day and age, it's all about receptions and how many yards and how many touchdowns.
Yeah, for sure.
These dudes are killing people.
Yes.
So if you're Ole Miss, just be ready. Those receivers from Miami, not only can they catch, but they're coming to line up on you and get physical. So I agree. Really appreciate watching that. And whoever's in charge of that from Miami, Shannon Dawson, the OC, Kevin Beard, the receiver, whoever it is, Mario, thank you for setting that bar and that example, because it is fun to watch. Let's squeeze in a few more thoughts on the wild card matchups. Which one intrigues you guys the most? I got to say, if I could handpick a matchup, I probably would pick Bears-Packers, and I'm lucky enough to be calling that game in Chicago on Saturday night. I've already this morning went back and watched Week 14, Week 16, the tradition and the history of those two franchises, the matchups. They're always physical, bitter, nasty, chippy. That one to me is obvious, but beyond that, Which one stands out to you, Joey, besides that one? San Fran, Philly's a really good one.
Yeah, Houston and Pittsburgh, simply because my entire family are Steelers fans. I grew up a Steelers fan. Until I got to the league, I was a huge Steelers fan. Now I just root for my kid. Like one son is a Bengals fan, so I got to.
Oh, poor Mikey.
Yeah, I know.
Poor
Mikey
guy
is a Bengals fan, but the rest of the family are Steelers fans, and so that one will have all of our eyeballs because my family will be going nuts. Last night when the missed field goal, I mean, I'm getting texts from my brothers that act just like you. They're like, after they converted that fourth down, I'm getting texts from my brothers. I'm going to bed. I'm out of here. It's over. Season's done. The minute he missed the field goal, 10 more text messages. I knew we had this. And I went right back like, oh, thought you were going to bed.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's exactly, it's over.
Hey,
season's over.
I pride myself on reverse psychology when it comes to my teams. I am the biggest reverse psychology fan in sports.
See, in all my years of dealing with you,
and the only team that's
season's over.
The only team that's been able to beat me on that and overcome my reverse psychology, because usually it works. The only team that's been able to overcome the Columbus Blue Jackets. I got to give the Columbus Blue Jackets a lot of credit for they always build a lead. They're always up 3-2 or 2-1 or 3-1 in the third. Mm-hmm. And I'll be texting my friends like, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. And by golly, they do. They do. Every single time. They do it. They figured out how to overcome the reverse psychology jinx. I tell you, it's hard, but these last 5 years,
I told you, take the over.
Miserable franchise in professional sports.
Take the over.
They want to lose. They want to lose. It's the only thing I can think.
Every time I see their score, take the over.
Get on FanDuel, go the other way. Yeah. Go the other way on the money line because they are going to lose. That's free money for you. If you see Columbus is up in the first or second or even mainly the third period, go the other way as fast as you can and as heavy as you can because it's a guaranteed win the other way. Guaranteed. All right, let's go. We had 3 minutes here. That was Peter. That was Bo. Bo, you need to graduate before you can come up here. Nope, you don't get to come up. Come here.
Oh, can we knock it off? Hey, who plays Peter in the middle of the bus when I got on? Who plays Peter?
Oh, hell. Can somebody get this dog out the way? Hey, get him, Pete. Get him. What are you supposed to do with this? You sit down, Joe. God dang it, Peter. Get on the bus. Hey, listen. What would you like me to do? Say hi.
Meanwhile, look how polite he's being to you.
Look at this. See, now I got hair on my leg.
I knew that was
hair on my legs.
I knew that was a play. I knew when I walked on and I seen him.
Dude, he was sleeping, minding his own business, just sprawled out in the aisle there. And you came in and yelled at him.
I just wanted to get to my seat without getting dog hair on my leg.
You just had to step over this big head. That's all you had to do.
I used to want dog hair on my leg. That's all I was asking. He rubbed his entire body across my leg. It was almost like you guys planned that.
Nice to him. That's all you do. And he's not nice to you. I'm sorry. Joey, you're supposed to be nice to this guy.
Listen, I still have dog hair on my leg. That's all. Your sons, which was great hanging with it's great hanging with your sons the entire time. And I knew when I walked on that bus and saw Peter, I was like, they are going to enjoy every last second of Peter rubbing his entire body down my leg.
You and my boys, that's something else. You're already starting your Schmidt games with the boys.
Hey, listen. Hey, big Zach, big teddy bear. We're out to dinner and he's looking the other way, and I put a whole nother it's like this little taco thing. I put the whole thing on his plate and he looks around and he's like, where'd this come? The best part, after he says, where's this come from? I don't want this. The Herbstreit gene kicked in. He finished the whole thing. Whatever I threw on his plate.
He's like, I'll take that. And he's like, I didn't, don't want to go to waste.
Hey, Joey.
Oh, that's when I was playing hide and seek. When you guys were out to eat with Peter.
He's on the bed. What?
Damn dog outside.
Was that when he was in the bed?
Yeah, he showed me pictures of Peter in the bed.
You didn't like that.
We was trying to enjoy a meal.
Yeah. I can't believe you did not get ice cream after the meal, did you?
Yeah. We went straight to the ice cream parlor.
And you were able to partake in that?
We had a good night out without you.
I missed it. I
Yeah.
suck. Was that New Year's Eve? What day? What was that? 30th or 31?
That was 30. That was 30th.
Well,
hang out. I went to bed. Me and Zach. Zach is like, I'm heading in.
yeah.
The rest of the crew straight back to hang out.
Yeah. Just shut it down.
Yeah.
Well, Joey, that was a fun show. Pat Coogan, congrats to him. See if Indiana can keep it rolling. Enjoyed your questions. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. We'll be back next Monday. What's the date? It is the 12th. This will be after NFL playoff, the wild card round. It'll be after the college football playoff. We'll know who's in the national championship. We'll know who advances in the NFL playoff. So still plenty to get into. Joey, have a great week. I'll hit you up when I get out to Phoenix.
All right, big fella. I'll see you on the other side.
Can't wait to hear your full report on the golf rounds next week.
Get me a hole-in-one out there, just like you saw.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. And a
Absolutely.
milkshake at that.
For sure.
Whisper Rock. Yeah.
For sure.
All right, my man. Have a
All right,
good
big
week.
fella.
Thanks to everybody. Talk to you soon.